everyone, thank you for watching this Survival of Science training video. So one of the good traits of training for survival is learning to be able to look at stuff and think of many different uses for it that the manufacturer never intended it to be used for. So I'm going to give you an example of that today on how to take this, which is just a roll of plastic drop cloth, and pretty much turn it into this. So a good way to practice is grab yourself a pad and just look at stuff and start thinking, what could I actually use that for, other than its obvious intended purpose. And then you just start writing down your ideas. So I did that with this, and I actually came up with 25 uses for this one roll of drop cloth. And I definitely recommend anybody who's putting together a survival kit, add one of these in there. They're relatively cheap. You can get them at pretty much any Lowe's hardware store for $4 to $6. This one was 50 foot by 10 foot, so it gives you a lot of plastic to work with. Alright, so let's start going through the list of some of the things that I came up with. Alright, so number one, you can use this as a rain catch. So you basically, however you want to set it up, you can attach it to trees, you can attach it to sticks, attach it to anything you want, but you just have it set up either like that, or you can just have it down at an angle. That way the rain catches on it, runs down, then you just have something down there to catch it. Or you can just use it as a big piece so that you basically just have it all like a little pool basically, and then just grab it out of there. Second, also for water, is you can make a water catch out of it. And the way you do that is you basically just dig a big hole, or if you're in an urban survival, if you have like a tub or a barrel or something, you can line the inside of that. Or you can, like I said, if you're out in the wilds, just dig a big hole and then line it with the plastic inside of it, and then have your rain catch coming down to it. So that way all that water is going into that hole. And then you can even, if you want, have another piece of plastic over it to help keep bugs out. But, if you do get some ants and stuff in there, whatever, extra protein, or you can just sift them out. So that gives you two ways of being able to collect a lot of water using this. Alright, number three, bed liner. So if you're making a bed and you have to make it on the ground, then you can use the bed liner, or use the plastic as a bed liner, and you just put it underneath it. So that way if it does rain, if the soil is very moist, it doesn't soak up through. This will actually stop it. Number four, roof waterproofing. So you're out in the wilds, you're lost, you're going to make a shelter, you want to make sure it's waterproof, and you happen to have some of this on you. So you just take it, you line it over the entire top of your roof. Now your roof is waterproof. Very simple. Number five, tent. You can actually use this to make a tent. You can either, depending on how much of it you want to use for that project, you can use a lot of it and actually make a full tent. Or you can make what's called a survival tent. And that's basically, you take it, see if I can do this here, just showing you. You bring it up, basically like that. Obviously it's going to be a much bigger piece, but you just have it flat on the bottom and coming up on the sloping like that. With whatever you got to use for cordage, you can, tie the top of it so it stays up like that, and then just prop it up with sticks. If you have some stakes on you, like 10 stakes, whatever, you can then use that to kind of hunker it to the ground. And you've got yourself a makeshift little tent. Alright. Number six, a light blanket. Believe it or not, yeah, this will work as a light blanket. Simple, wrap it around you. Alright, number seven, a solar still. So a solar still is one of the only ways, if you're not an engineer and have a lot of equipment with you, that you can actually desalinate salt water. That's right, you can actually use the sun to desalinate salt water. The way you do this, You dig a hole. You want it to be a good foot or two deep. Line it with whatever plant life you can find, just, palm fronds or whatever. Pull a bunch of the fronds off, pull a bunch of leaves off, grass, whatever you can. Pile it up in there. And then you take some of the ocean water, you pour it in there, and then you cover the hole with the plastic, but you want to make sure that the middle is going down kind of at a slope, so it's kind of concave. Poke a hole in the middle of it, and then have a container underneath. Well, you don't even need to poke a hole in it, actually. That's if you use it as a rain catch. So never mind, don't poke a hole in it. Just leave it at a concave. Have a little rock or something sitting on it to weigh it down. Have a cup or something underneath it, and that water, as it evaporates out from the sun, is going to leave the salt behind. It's going to collect on the plastic, and then it'll flow down and drip into the cup. And to make sure you have it set up right, just dab your finger in it, take a taste of it, make sure it doesn't taste salty. Now eventually you will start getting some salt buildup on your plastic, so you want to make sure to keep an eye on that. And if it does, every time you do it, do the finger taste test real quick. If it has salt, it starts tasting salty, swap out your plastic, dump the cup, start over. And hopefully one of these days we'll actually be able to set up one of those so you can actually see it being done. Alright, number 8, a carrying bag. Pretty simple again. Put your stuff in it, wrap it up. This can be done pretty much any size. Take some cordage, wrap it around it so it stays closed, or you can weave it through and make like a drawstring. And carrying bag. You can make it small, you can make it big. Very simple to do. And that leads us into number 9, which is a backpack. Using the same basic premise, you can take a couple of pieces, however big you want to make it, put the edge together with whatever cordage you got. Again, just do a simple kind of stitch through to close it on each side and the bottom. Overlap it a little bit like that. And that way you've got a flap to pull over. So you can just kind of pull it over and then tuck it in on the other side. So that way if you're traveling and it's raining, it'll help keep your stuff dry. And then you just put the strap, you can use some more of this. Just kind of fold it up like that, and you can make your backpack straps out of that and attach it to it. Just make sure you attach to it pretty good, because you want to make sure that as you're walking, it doesn't just fall off. So just make sure that you attach it pretty good. And that's as simple as just, use some extra cordage, whatever, to attach it. Just make sure it's knotted on there really good. All right. Number 10, water bag. So you find somewhere where there's, say, a river or a lake, and you want to collect some water, but you don't want to have to keep making a lot of trips. Well, again, very simple. Take your piece of plastic, however big you want to have it. You can have it up to like a gallon size, whatever. Pull it up so it's like a bag shape. So pretty much just, bring it up. Obviously, you're going to use a bigger piece of plastic than this, but pretty much just into a bag shape, and then fill it up with the water, and now you've got a bag of water that you can then tie off if you want to, and then you can just carry it back to your camp. So, pretty good. Number 11, drinking cup. Same as the container, just smaller. Just basically kind of like a flower bloom shape, just kind of do that. So you got your hole in there. I don't know how well you can see that. You got your hole in there. Then you can, put some water in there, and you got your little drinking cup. You have to use your imagination. That's how you come up with stuff like this, and you can save your life. All right, number 11, or actually that was 11. Number 12, You can actually make a makeshift fishing net out of this stuff. Kind of like that. Except obviously bigger. And the easy way to do that is if you ever did the little, guys holding hands in grade school, is you just fold it back the other way, back the other way, back the other way, and keep doing that until it's all the way folded up. And then you just cut little squares out. And when you unfold it, it looks like that. And again, you can do it however big you want. If you want, you can do 2 layers of it just to make it a little more sturdy if you're trying to go for a bigger fish. But it will work as a little makeshift fishing net. Then you just attach some rocks to the bottom so it'll stay down, figure out a way to drag it, and hopefully you can catch some fish. Alright, 13, pillow. Pretty simple. Wrap it in the bag. Again, you probably use a bigger piece than this for this, but you just wrap it over his bag, stitch it together with whatever cordage you've got available, and then you can fill it with, leaves, you fill it with your clothing, fill it with whatever you got available to you, and that will give you a nice cushion. You can even just put extra clothes in there, since you can always just take them out and wear them again and then shove them back in there. So that's, a good way to make a pillow, just, a little creature comfort for while you're out surviving. Excuse me. All right, number 14, boiling pot. Believe it or not, you can boil water in plastic. You can boil water in a paper cup. The reason for this is because of the water. Water boils at 212 degrees. The ignition point for paper and the melting point of plastic are both above 212 degrees. So because that water is in there, that's never going to be able to get hotter than 212 degrees, provided you keep it high enough above the heat that is getting just enough heat there to boil the water but not melt the plastic or burn the paper because the flames are licking at it. So just make sure you keep it a good couple of feet above the heat. You can practice with it. And yes, you can actually use plastic or paper to boil water. And we will actually do that in a future video. If you don't believe us, we'll prove it. Okay, number 15. Waterproof shelter walls. So, okay, you're in a survival situation. Let's go with one of the fanciful ones, but it can happen. You get shipwrecked on an island, you're building a shelter, and you end up being there for a long time. So you end up building kind of a fancy shelter. You can use this as walls so that you have waterproof walls. It'll block the wind, it'll keep the bugs out. And that way you don't need a lot more building materials. You just need some good sticks and bamboo if it's available. Basically just create a square frame, put 2 cross beams in it, and then line it all with your plastic. Alright, moving on. Number 16, a knife sheath. So you got a good knife on you, but you've been out too long, it got wet, whatever, it's falling apart. You want a new knife sheath because you don't want your knife just dangling on you, because that could be a safety hazard. You can cut yourself. Let me grab mine real quick. So this is gone. This has been destroyed. However, you lost it, dropped it off a cliff, whatever. But you want a new sheath for this. Well, it's pretty simple. Take your knife, put it on the edge of it, loosely wrap it. Don't do it tight, do it loose. Bring this end up. So now you have it basic loose to the shape of your knife. And then again, just using whatever cord you have, just knot it together, stitch it together, tie it around it. Something just to keep it wrapped like that. Now you've got yourself a new knife sheath. And then if you're really creative, you can, again, just like the backpack, you can create a little strap right here so you can still attach it to a belt, whatever. Keep in mind, it's not going to be as strong as an actual real knife sheath, but it will get the job done. So just be careful with it. Don't shove the knife into it hard. Be careful how much it's bouncing, and it'll get the job done. All right. 17. So I've been telling you a lot on these to whatever cordage you have available, use it for sewing up stuff. Well, if you don't have cordage available, guess what? You can make it. Just cut thin strips to make your cordage. If you need it stronger than a single strip, take a few of the strips and braid them together. If you need it stronger than that, take those braided strips and braid those together. You can end up making cords that are that big around that you can hang on easily off of this stuff if you don't mind taking the patience to sit there and actually cord it all together. So you can make cordage out of this as well. All right, 18, a signal. There's two ways you can do a signal with this. Number one, if you're in an opening or a clearing, you can just take a big chunk of it when you're not using it and just strap it over some bushes or some trees or something. And that's, if search and rescue's flying over in a helicopter, they're going to suddenly see, okay, lots of green, lots of brown. Well, here's now this big white thing. Maybe we should check that out a bit closer, and they could probably figure out from there that there's a good chance you're there. They'll send in the ground guys to come investigate. Another way is you can, say you're on a beach or whatever, you can lay out a giant piece of it, lay rocks on it around the edges so it stays down, and then using either rocks, palm fronds, or the actual sand, because it's going to contrast against the white, you can actually spell out in giant letters, help, SOS, whatever, get that message out there so that people can see that message. And having it on a white background, which is unnatural for natural surroundings, is going to make it a lot more noticeable. All right, 19, a belt. So you can actually take this, say you've been out there a while, you're losing weight because you're not eating as much, you're working a lot harder than you normally would, your pants are starting to get really loose. Well, of course, you can just take this, do it up real tight so it's about belt size, and just fold, stitch it together somehow, boom, belt. That way you can keep your drawers up. Or you can just use the cordage method and just wrap a long cord, wrap it through the belt loops, tie it together, keep your pants up. Excuse me. All right, number 20. Rain poncho. Sure, why not? You can take a piece of it that's roughly about the right size, cut a hole in it for your head. It'll come down over you. You can just use some cordage or whatever to kind of tie it around you so it just kind of stays. Now you've got yourself a makeshift little rain poncho. Keep you dry, drier. You can actually keep yourself all the way dry if you make it long enough to be like a poncho dress. But yeah, it'll keep you pretty dry when it's raining out. All right, sleeping bag. Same as the pillow, bigger. Do I need to cover any more on that? I don't think so. Okay. Insulation. So you can actually take this stuff, if you're in a cold area, you can wad it up, and you can put it inside your coat, or jacket, whatever. You can even stuff it up inside your shirt. It's going to be a little itchy and annoying, but you can do it. And that's going to help give you insulation. The reason being is because the cloth itself is not what's keeping you warm. It's actually that cushion of air in between that your body heat is warming, and that's what's keeping you warm. You're getting that warm cushion of air stuck in there, and that's insulating you. So this will just help to add to that. All right, where are we at? Number 23, sanitary liner. Again, you find a pot, you find a barrel, you find whatever container, but it looks nasty. Well, you can use this to line it, so that way you've got a good sanitary line around it. So you can use it for storing water, storing food, whatever. It's not coming into contact with that gross outside edge. So none of that gunk that's in there is getting in there. So that's another good use for this. All right. Number 24, Patch for broken windows. Alright, so you're in an urban survival situation, say like a hurricane or a tornado, and something gets thrown by the storm, it smashes right through your window. Now you got all that rain and wind and everything coming right in. Well, you can use this as people do all the time when they break windows, and you can just line it around that window and keep all of that from blowing in. Help protect you from the elements a bit. All right, and number 25, greenhouse wall lining. Yes, you can actually use this stuff to build a greenhouse. So you just build up your frame that you're going to use your greenhouse, line it with this, done and done. It's going to depend on the climate, obviously, but if you're living in Antarctica, you're not going to want to use this as greenhouse lining because you're going to need to keep it somewhat insulated. So well, I guess you could. You just have to do a lot of layers, but not so many layers that it keeps the sun from coming in. All right, and of course, let's throw in number 26 just for the heck of it. You can use this as drop cloth for painting, as it was intended. So, and actually, I don't know, if you actually had to, you might actually be able to beat somebody down with this thing. It's pretty heavy. So there you have it. A bunch of reasons, or a bunch of ways that you can turn this into a lot of different things. And that's why I say that, this thing's lightweight, it's cheap. I recommend to everybody, pick up one of these, add it to your kit. Have one in your home kit, have one sitting in your car trunk, have one in your, on your kit you use to take out and about. You can just simply strap this to the bottom of the backpack, just like a bedroll, easy to carry. I recommend it. Right, and then looking around the house, there's a lot of things, and we'll do some more videos on these as well, but I challenge you, grab a pad, find some things, and just write down a bunch of ideas on what you can do with those things. And in fact, submit them to us. Either send them to the survival community at gmail.com or submit them on the actual survival community Facebook page, which is at IRD Science and Survival on Facebook. And, we'll go through these, we'll look at them, and if they're a really good selection of stuff, we'll either do a video out of it, or we'll just do a typed up version of your list and post it on the page and give you credit for it. So if you come up with some good stuff, let us know, and we'll get it on the page for you. So again, my name is Lewis. Thank you for watching this Science and Survival training video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also go to our pages at IRD Science and on the survival community and give those a like. And both at the beginning and the end of every video, the web address is there to get to it, so definitely go do that. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these lessons. These are all very important lessons. Share them with other people. Get other people to come and like the community so that they get it, because these things can save lives, and that's why we're here. We're here, as IRD Science, we created this community to save lives, because this is information people need. So definitely get more people coming in so that they can see this stuff, and we'll get some more videos out soon. And until the next video, everyone, have a great day.